First Corinthians 7. Now concerning the matters you wrote about, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. But because of sexual immorality, each man should have his own wife, and each woman her own husband. The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. Likewise, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. Do not deprive one another, except perhaps by mutual consent for a time, so that you may devote yourselves to prayer. Then come together again, so that Satan may not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. I say this as a concession, not as a command. I wish that all were as I am. But each has their own gift from God, one in this way and another in that. To the unmarried and the widows, I say that it is good for them to remain as I am. But if they cannot exercise self-control, they should marry, for it is better to marry than to burn with passion. To the married, I give this command, not I, but the Lord: a wife must not separate from her husband. But if she does, she must remain unmarried or be reconciled to her husband. And a husband must not divorce his wife. To the rest I say, I, not the Lord: if any brother has an unbelieving wife, and she is willing to live with him, he must not divorce her. And if a woman has an unbelieving husband, and he is willing to live with her, she must not divorce him. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified through his wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified through her believing husband. Otherwise your children would be unclean, but as it is, they are holy. But if the unbeliever departs, let them go. A believing brother or sister is not bound in such cases. God has called us to live in peace. How do you know, wife, whether you will save your husband? Or how do you know, husband, whether you will save your wife? Only let each person live as the Lord has assigned to them, as God has called them. This is my rule in all the churches. Was anyone called while circumcised? Let them not seek to remove it. Was anyone called while uncircumcised? Let them not be circumcised. Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing. What matters is keeping God's commandments. Let each person remain in the calling they were in when God called them. Were you called while a slave? Do not be concerned. But if you can gain your freedom, do so. For the one who was a slave when called in the Lord is the Lord's freedman, just as the one who was free when called is Christ's slave. You were bought with a price. Do not become slaves of men. Brothers and sisters, in whatever condition each was called, let them remain there with God. Now concerning virgins, I have no command from the Lord, but I give my judgment as one who has received mercy from the Lord to be trustworthy. Because of the present distress, I think it is good for a person to remain as they are. Are you bound to a wife? Do not seek to be free. Are you free from a wife? Do not seek one. But if you do marry, you have not sinned, and if a virgin marries, she has not sinned. But those who marry will have troubles in this life, and I want to spare you from them. What I mean, brothers and sisters, is that the time is short. From now on, those who have wives should live as if they had none, those who weep as though they did not weep, those who rejoice as though they did not rejoice, those who buy as though they did not own, and those who use the things of this world as though not engrossed in them. For this world, in its present form, is passing away. I want you to be free from concerns. An unmarried man is concerned about the things of the Lord, how he may please the Lord. But a married man is concerned about the things of the world, how he may please his wife. And his interests are divided. An unmarried woman or a virgin is concerned about the things of the Lord, that she may be holy in both body and spirit. But a married woman is concerned about the things of the world, how she may please her husband. I say this for your own benefit, not to place a restriction on you, but to promote what is appropriate and to secure your undivided devotion to the Lord. If anyone thinks he is not treating his virgin daughter properly, and she is of age, and it seems necessary, let him do what he wants. He does not sin, let them marry. But the one who stands firm in his heart, having no necessity, but has control over his own will and has determined to keep his daughter unmarried, does well. So then, the one who gives his daughter in marriage does well, but the one who does not give her in marriage does better. A wife is bound to her husband as long as he lives. But if her husband dies, she is free to marry anyone she wishes, but only in the Lord. Yet, in my judgment, she is happier if she remains as she is. And I think that I too have the Spirit of God.